The case which you're about to see is fictional. The procedure, however, is legally accurate. The characters are played by actors, but the jury is selected from members of the general public. Mr. Justice Hammond presides in the case of the Queen against Roe, in which Frank Roe has pleaded not guilty to the manslaughter of John Palmer.
I'm most terribly sorry.
Oh, that's all right, love.
Really ought to be more careful.
I'm sure you are careful, usually.
Oh, very kind.
Not at all, Mr.
Dr. Gardner.
Pleased to meet you, Doctor.
Nice to meet you.
Maureen. Maureen Berry.
Oh, yes. Precisely.
My lord, members of the jury. On Friday, the 27th of November, 1982, the accused was employed as a bouncer at Rafters Discotheque in Fulchester. Rafters employ 4 full-time bouncers, and the accused is the head bouncer. On the evening in question, John Palmer, a local celebrity, attended the discotheque, where an incident occurred which resulted in his death. Mr. Palmer was a boxer of some standing, middleweight, with a promising career, who had attracted a lot of attention from the boxing fraternity. You are Gary Joseph Freeman, age 21, of 54, Mustard, Fulchester, and you live with your father and are unemployed. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And your 21st birthday was a few months ago.
Yeah. The 27th of November, to be right. The night when it happened, we went to Rafters. There was me and John and Sandy.
Sandy Watson.
Randy Sandy Watson. That's his nickname. He's always after women.
Oh, very apt.
Had you taken the deceased to Rafters before?
No, wouldn't go because of his training.
His boxing training?
I don't train. Where we live, there's more life in a morgue. Nothing to do but drink.
Mr. Freeman, when was the first time that you saw the accused that evening?
It's when we arrived at the door, the entrance like. There was 2 of them. That's when I first saw him, looking. Just looking. I remember his face sort of lit up when he saw John. Came to the glass to see who it was. I remember him being very anxious and a bit nervy. Anyway, we went in, paid a £3. And this bouncer who'd been looking sort of took John to one side, guided him away like. So we hung about a bit. Then he says, get inside. So we did, pretty sharpish.
And was there any reason that you knew why the defendant might have detained Palmer?
No.
Had you antagonized the bouncers in any way at all on your arrival?
No. I mean, we were having a laugh. That's not a crime, is it, having a laugh?
Mr. Freeman, can you explain what you mean by having a laugh?
Just enjoying yourself. Laughing and that. Not hurting anyone.
But could your having a laugh have been misconstrued in any way?
Well, a laugh's a laugh, innit?
Is it? But it might be a laugh for you, but danger for somebody else.
Honest, we weren't causing any trouble.
Do you understand what I am saying?
Oh, yeah, obviously.
I wonder. Yeah.
Did you notice any change in Palmer when he came in the discotheque?
Yeah, he changed, but I mean, only like everybody does when they come out of the foyer into the disco. The music hits you like a wall, and it's dark, so your eyes aren't used to it, and you start banging into people. It's all right, laugh. I think it must have surprised him. We were both laughing like hell, trying to shout him over to the bar.
Did Palmer have anything to drink?
He did, yeah. I was amazed. He had about 3 pints, as far as I could remember. Said to Sandy, John will be on the meth soon. It's the first time I saw him have a proper drink. Then this happens.
When did you next see the accused?
About 10 minutes later, when he came into the disco area. They're used to it, the noise and that. He came into the disco and hung about in the background. Every time I looked at him, he seemed to be looking at John.
Would you say that Palmer was enjoying Rafters?
Yeah, we all were. It were going really well. It were a good do. John seemed to be enjoying it, seemed to be relaxed. Mostly he were tense, but he were quite relaxed. He were dancing, enjoying himself. There's this record called Upside Your Head. Everybody dances to it. It sort of goes, ups, upside your head. I said, ups, upside your head. Well, what you do is that you sit in a line on the floor, and then you wrap your legs around each other. And, well, it's a good way of getting to know each other, I'll say that much about it. And you start rowing backwards and forwards. Everybody seemed to be doing it right, except for John. He was pushing instead of pulling. When the music finished, that's when he came for him.
The accused?
Yeah, him. He couldn't get up at the end of the music. And he came over, picked him up to his feet as if he were a bag of dirty washing or something, and then put him over to a chair at the side and went back to where he was standing.
Did you notice how the accused reacted?
No. I mean, you know what it's like. Pitch black. You could be dancing with a fella before you realise it's that dark. But anyway, about 10 minutes later, he's there again. John dancing. Then he's on the floor again to a different record. And he can't get up.
And the same thing happened.
Almost identical. As if it were an action replay.
And did Palmer resist in any way?
No. He looked very limp.
What was the reaction of the other people in the disco to Palmer's behavior?
They were loving it. Everyone were having a good time. Then John started to climb up this palm tree. I'd just been to the toilet, and then when I came back, there was this crowd of people all egging him on and laughing. And there's John with his shirt off doing the muscle man thing like they do sometimes on telly. He had a good physique and all, but it were really weird him seeing him up this tree, when usually he was very quiet.
Mr. Freeman, with regard to your reference to palm trees, I no longer frequent such establishments. Could you explain what a palm tree was doing in a Fulchester nightclub? I mean, is it a fake tree, or has it taken root there?
If I might offer a brief explanation, my lord.
Oh, please do, Mr. Lindsay Hewitt. I'm most intrigued to hear what you have to say.
Well, Rafter's discotheque is described, sometimes optimistically, as a Polynesian night spot. The interior is based on a tropical flavor with a bamboo fascia to the bar area and a kidney-shaped dance floor. And there are several large concrete palm trees hanging over the dance floor, and Palmer was climbing one of these.
Thank you, Mr. Hewitt. Your illustrations are always most vivid, and, if I may say so, show what can only be first-hand knowledge.
Thank you, my lord. Mr. Freeman, when did you next see the accused?
When he came to get him down from the tree.
Did you notice anything unusual in the way that the accused approached Palmer?
Didn't really look. He came, grabbed him and took him off tree. See, that's what they do. They all hang about, and then they swoop.
Did you follow Palmer?
Well, yeah and no.
What do you mean?
Well, he took him off the tree and put his shirt on. Another bouncer had turned up by this time. And all the crowd started booing and shouting when they came for him. When I saw them take him out, I went all jelly, soft and weak. So I pushed myself across the dance floor, and I saw one of them take him out through the side fire exit.
What did you do then?
Ran to find Sandy, because I was scared. It's the bouncers. They're all the same wherever you go. Hanging about, looking dangerous. They hassle you, pick on you, and then when they get you outside, they do you over, and that's what happened to John. It's obvious.
Mr. Hewitt, I
Mr.
think that,
Freeman, just answer the question.
He watches you all the time, like he were doing. Say stuff to women, young girls, they try to get off with them, touch them up, provoke you.
Mr. Freeman, we are not here to try bouncing as a profession. We are here to deal with a particular case. Please limit your evidence to the realms of this case.
Mr. Freeman, please return to the events of the evening. What did you do when you found Mr. Watson?
I ran out the fire exit, and pushed my way across the dance floor, and he was there outside. There was another bouncer just stood watching, and he's there, stood like a mountain, like the Hulk. He had his arm around John's neck. You were going mad, hitting him. Kept hitting him in the face. This is for our Kev, he said. John couldn't do anything. He was helpless. He just kept hitting him in the face.
You bloody liar! I never touched him, you lying little git!
Mr. Griffith, I will not have outbursts of that type in this court. Please control the defendant.
I apologize, my lord. Thank you, my lord. Mr. Freeman, you stood and watched the accused and Mr. Palmer fight.
Wasn't a fight, no way. It was a massacre, all one-sided.
With your permission, my lord, I would like to ask Mr. Freeman to step down from the witness box and to demonstrate the hold which the accused used on the deceased.
Well, very well, if you think it is necessary.
I would like to ask the court's permission to use the usher as the victim in this demonstration.
Well, if it is necessary.
Thank you, my lord. Now, Mr. Freeman, let us see exactly what you saw.
Well, he had him like this. And he started hitting him in the face. And he was hitting him and squeezing his neck. This is Fra Kev, he said.
It didn't happen like that.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. That's fine. And thank you for your assistance.
When I had hold of him, I tried to force me weight against him. But I'm a weed. This bouncer must have been about 7 stones heavier than John. He was taller. He had more power. He protected himself with his body, pushing himself against John so he couldn't even throw a punch. Then after a bit, he let go of him, and he fell to the floor. Seemed to be in slow motion, but I remember very clearly him falling on the ground. And him, he stood there like this up against the wall, very still, not moving, stood still. And John's lying there, dead still.
Now, Mr. Freeman, how long had you known John Palmer?
All my life, since school, really.
And did you ever see him box?
No.
Did you ever speak to him about his boxing career?
Oh, I can never say I was really interested. Never taken sport seriously. It's unhealthy, you know what I mean?
Now, Mr. Freeman, who is your idol? Who in the whole world would you most like to meet?
In the world? It's probably Bo Derek. Yeah, I'd want to meet Bo Derek.
And who is Bo Derek?
Well, she's an actress, my lord, an American.
I see.
Now, how do you think you would react if you met Miss Derek?
Well, I mean, what do you want me to say? I mean, me and Bo Derek? Not half. Suppose I'd be a bit pleased. Be embarrassed. I wouldn't know what to say or where to look.
Yes. Now, Mr. Freeman, you also remarked that when you arrived at the entrance to Rafters, you noted how the accused's face lit up. You said he appeared anxious and a bit nervy.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Well, did you ever consider that the reason why his face lit up was because he was very pleased to meet John Palmer?
Pleased to see him? Give us a break, pal.
Well, if you were to meet Bo Derek, wouldn't you be delighted?
Yeah, but that's a bit different.
But would your face light up?
Yeah, it would, but it's far-fetched.
Now, do you know why Rowe took Palmer outside in the entrance of the disco?
Never thought about it.
Oh, do you have any idea what they were talking about?
No?
And when he was dancing, you said people were laughing at him, yes?
Some were laughing it. It were really funny.
Yes, now, laughter, of course, is a very complex phenomenon.
Is it? I just laugh.
Well, it can be an expression of fear, can it not?
Fear? Oh,
Well, you laugh now because you're unaccustomed to this situation.
I just laugh.
Now, Palmer was a very finely tuned athlete. He wasn't used to drink and intoxicating environments. Now, you sure he didn't appear as a threat or threatening in any sort of way?
He was just enjoying himself like all the rest. I mean, what do you want him to do? Shadowbox all night? He looked like a boxer. He had hard features. He looked hard. But he was just enjoying himself.
Did he appear out of control?
No, bit drunk, that's all.
Well, you were saying he wasn't out of control when he climbed up this concrete palm tree.
No, he wasn't.
Now, these people could have been laughing at him, could they not? Because they were afraid. They were afraid he was getting out of control.
Palmer was no threat. Nay, damn, he'd only had 3 pints.
He wasn't used to drinking.
There was no way that he didn't know what he was doing.
Well, did he appear to know what he was doing when he sat down in the middle of the dance floor?
But slow getting up, that's all.
I see. Now, you couldn't disagree, could you, that the accused was only acting in the course of his duty when he lifted Palmer off the dance floor?
Unless he was picking on him.
Well, it happened twice, Mr. Freeman. Now, would you disagree that the accused was doing his duty when he took Palmer outside?
It's their job, I suppose.
Are you saying Frank Rowe was merely doing his duty?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Well, do you agree that's why bouncers are there?
Yeah, that's why they're there,
Right.
but...
Now, Mr. Freeman, how long did you spend looking for your acquaintance, Mr. Watson?
A couple of minutes. I was scared, I panicked. Sandy was dancing with this bird and he had his arms all over her. He was trying to ignore me. When I told him what had happened, he came after a bit. He was very cheesed off and he was a bit drunk. He always overdoes it.
And how long did you spend talking with Watson?
About a couple of minutes.
And then the two of you went looking for Palmer through the fire exit.
We ran out the fire exit, down the road, and there they were.
So from the time that Palmer left Rafters, some 5 or 6 minutes must have passed before you arrived.
Yeah, about that.
And then you say you saw Rowe hit Palmer.
Yeah. I saw him holding him and I saw him hitting him.
Well, could you have perhaps arrived at the end of a fight?
Didn't look like a fight to me.
Oh, come on, it was dark. You were anxious, excited.
It wasn't a fight. He had Palmer. It was all one-sided. It was a massacre.
Right, Mr. Freeman, you say that you heard the accused say, "This is for Kev," as he punched Palmer in the face.
Yeah, I heard him.
Well, Rowe didn't say anything of the kind.
He did because I heard him say it as he hit him.
Now, Mr. Freeman, you've mentioned that you and Mr. Watson quite often go out drinking as there's little else to do. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. That's all there is to do where we live.
Now, how much had you had to drink on the evening in question?
9, 10 pints maybe.
9 or 10 pints? Would you say that was a reasonable amount?
It was my birthday.
Oh, were you drunk?
But yeah.
Mr. Freeman, I suggest that you had so much to drink that your recollection of the events in question are totally unreliable.
I saw what I saw and I heard what I heard. He had Palmer. John wasn't struggling, he was just hitting him.
Mr. Freeman, you had clearly missed the beginning of the incident, hadn't you?
Yeah, that's right.
So it is possible, is it not, that you have totally misconstrued what you saw?
No, I know what I saw.
I suggest, Mr. Freeman, that the accused never punched Palmer in the face at any time during that evening.
He did because I saw him. I know that much for a start. And I'll tell you something else. John's dead. I know that. He killed my best mate. I know that because that's what I saw.
Mr. Watson, do you remember going outside the discotheque?
Aye, I went outside. I remember that much.
What did you see, Mr. Watson?
Well, it were dark.
Once again, did you see anything outside the discotheque?
Oh, I must have seen John and his bouncer.
Did you notice what they were doing?
It's not clear. I mean, there was a bit of a struggle. It's just a bit distant, that's
Mr.
all.
Watson, do you remember seeing Palmer and Rowe outside the discotheque?
I must have seen him. I just can't remember.
But surely if you saw them, you can remember what they were doing.
It's not clear at all.
Mr. Watson, did you ever notice any blows being struck between the two men?
No.
Did you see anything at all when you were outside the discotheque?
Look, no, I just can't remember. Look, I saw something at the time. I mean, I told the copper. I just don't remember much about the evening, actually. I never do, or out my head. I never saw anybody hitting anybody. I mean, John were all worked up, but once I started dancing, I just went. I know I saw something, right? It's in the back of my mind. I just can't recall it now, that's all, honest.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. I have no more questions, my lord.
Mr. Watson, you maintain that much of what happened on the 27th is all rather unclear.
I can't remember out.
Well, I wonder if you could think back to the beginning of that evening. I mean, think into sobriety rather than inebriation. My lord, I would like to just fill in the background of what happened before they arrived at the discotheque.
As you wish.
Now, had you met up with Mr. Freeman and the deceased in a public house?
We called for each other, decided to do a pub crawl, so we went off.
A pub crawl is an anabasis involving drinking establishments, is that right?
Perfectly, my lord.
And the prime objective is to drink a glass of beer at each establishment visited?
Aye, dead right.
Thank you, Mr. Watson.
We were all in a good mood, laughing and joking and that. We're just ready to get some beer down our necks.
And was John Palmer in a good mood?
Aye.
Even though he was unaccustomed to pub crawling.
Oh, he wasn't no stiff or that. Just kept himself fit and he boxed. Where we live, people respect you for that. You can have qualifications all the way down your arm. If you're not handy, you're nobody. If you can't look after yourself, you don't get respect.
And how much did Palmer drink on this crawl?
Well, normally, he'd just have orange juice, but with it being a bit special and that, he had a couple of pints.
Only a couple, the whole evening?
Aye.
You sure?
Aye, well, I suppose I should have said earlier. I mean, I didn't even tell Gaz. I got a bit carried away. If it hadn't been for me, he'd probably still be alive. He'd probably still be here today.
So you planned to get Palmer drunk, did you?
I didn't plan it like a plan.
Well, you had it in your mind.
Aye, I suppose so.
How many pints did Palmer have?
He had 4. Aye, he had 4 because we bought 4 rounds. Then he went back on his usual orange juice.
And that's all he had the whole evening?
No.
What, he had something to drink in rafters as well, did he?
Aye, he had an orange juice. Well, that's the thing, you see. He thought he were drinking orange juice, that strong stuff you get in tall glasses. Well, the thing is, every time I got him one, I stuck someone else in it.
You spiked Palmer's drinks?
Aye, I did. I didn't mean out by it.
Mr. Watson, were you aware of the consequences when you spiked these drinks?
I didn't think about it. I didn't know what had happened.
Is it your practice to deliberately interfere with a person's decision not to have anything further to drink?
No, my lord. I just didn't think about it. I didn't know what had happened. Well, come on, don't you think it rings in my head? Don't you think I can't sleep at night with the thought of it?
It should ring in your head, Mr. Watson. I only hope it rings in your head for a very long time.
My lord, now what did you put in this orange juice?
All sorts of stuff. Gin at first, vodka, Pernod as well, I think.
And did Palmer appear changed in any way?
Aye, came out of himself. He was starting to be a bit loud.
Was he drunk?
Aye, must have been. I were wrecked.
If you were so wrecked, how come you were allowed in the discotheque in the first place?
Oh, that's the difference, you see, between us and John. Me and Gaz, like, we're used to it. We got naught else to do. We trained for it. We were drunk inwardly, but on the outside, we looked all right. We looked sober.
But Palmer looked drunk.
Well, he wasn't used to it. He's used to taking physical blows, punches, not drinking beer. He just wasn't used to it.
Especially the mix of drinks you concocted for him.
Aye, especially them.
The case of the Queen against Roe will be resumed tomorrow in the Crown Court.
Morning.
Morning.
What time did you get away last night? Ian, what time did you get home last night?
What time do you think?
I only asked Ian, love.
And I'm only telling you, Maureen, love.
You've got a lot to learn.
About what?
About a lot of things.
Who from? You?
Maybe.
Or Frank? Or are they one and the same?
The case you're about to see is fictional. The procedure, however, is legally accurate. The characters are played by actors, but the jury is selected from members of the general public. Frank Rowe is accused of the manslaughter of local boxer John Palmer.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You are Ian Webster of 22 Moorcroft Avenue, Fulchester, and you're employed at Rafters Discotheque in Fulchester. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Mr. Webster, in your experience as a bouncer, have you ever had anything to deal with drunken people at Rafters?
Well, that's one of the occupational hazards, I suppose. I've had to deal with one or two.
Mr. Webster, when John Palmer first appeared at Rafters, did he appear to be drunk?
He looked a bit rough.
In what way?
Usual signs. Shirt collar undone, tie sort of hanging loose. He didn't look solid on his feet. When he came into the foyer, it was obvious he was drunk. Well drunk.
Why was he allowed entry?
Don't know. Frank's the boss. Was the boss. Frank went straight for him and took him into a corner in the foyer.
Had you been in charge, how would you have reacted?
Well, in my book, a spade's a spade, no matter who they are. There can be no favourites. Frank let him in because of who he was. That's obvious.
Really, my lord, the witness cannot state what was in the accused's mind.
Please limit yourself to the facts, Mr. Webster.
It's a fact that he let him in, and that's not what the game is.
And what is the game, Mr. Webster?
The game is to let people come down to Rafters and have a good night out, and not be hassled by drunks. That's why we're there, to keep them out.
I see.
Palmer and the accused were talking. Did you hear what they were talking about?
I couldn't hear much because of the noise. He was in a corner in any case. Frank started talking straight into his face, and he'd sort of clip him on the head very quick. There was a lot of swearing. I heard Frank shout at him. He said, "Your time will come." Yeah, he said that once or twice. "Your time will come, just you wait." And he mentioned there Kevin. Frank were sort of throwing dummy punches at him. His fist was clenched all the time.
How long were they talking?
10 minutes. Then Palmer slouched inside the disco. Frank was annoyed. He watched him go.
Annoyed in what way?
Just one of his moods. He's very moody, very changeable. If he feels like it, he'll wander around and hassle people.
My lord.
Like he might say, "Watch this," and he'll go up behind someone and he'll start intimidating them or following them around.
Mr. Webster, please limit yourself to the restrictions of the questions you are asked. Members of the jury will disregard what Mr. Webster has just said. He was talking generally about the accused. We are here to discuss particulars. Please explain the difference to your witness, Mr. Hewitt.
Certainly, my lord. Mr. Webster, do you here understand what my lord has just said? The case is concerned with what happened on the night of the 27th of November, 1982, and not with any other occasion.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
Now, did you notice what the accused was doing when you went in the dance hall?
He was stood away from the dance floor watching Palmer.
Did you see Palmer attempt to climb the tree?
Yes, I saw him climb the tree. I was watching him from across the dance floor. Frank was stood quite close. It's not unknown for that sort of thing to happen.
Is it generally accepted that someone may go a little too far?
Yes, it is really, especially on a Friday. Payday, you see. They all come and let their hair down.
Had you been in charge of the discotheque on the night in question, would you by this stage have been prompted to turn Palmer out?
I wouldn't have let him in.
Did you think that Palmer warranted the action taken by the accused?
No. That's why I didn't understand it. Frank went for him. Then I followed. I tried to get there quickly through all the people. I saw that Frank was upset. I was going to take the lad out with Frank, but he told me to leave him. He gave me a look. He was insistent on taking the boxer outside by himself. He went straight out through the side fire exit. I got the rest of the dancers dancing again.
Is that all that you saw?
No. I wasn't going to follow them outside. Frank being angry and that. I hesitated. Then I decided to go outside and see what was going on. Frank had hold of this lad. He was really going for him, hitting him in the face. He mentioned there Kevin once or twice as he was sort of punching at him. Frank was mad, you could see that.
I'm gonna do you for that, Webster!
See what I mean?
Mr. Webster, I will not tell you again.
I'm sorry, I know what you're going to say, but it's the truth. And I'm here to tell the truth.
Mr. Webster, had you anything at all to drink that evening?
No, I don't drink at all. What I saw in a totally sober frame of mind.
Thank you, Mr. Webster. I have no more questions, my lord.
Mr. Webster, how long have you known the accused?
About a year or so.
And would you say that you got along well with him?
Fairly well, yes.
Come on, Ian.
Now, you said that the accused was interested in Palmer all night. Now, what did you mean by that?
He kept on watching him, like a hawk, all through the night.
And would you say that the accused was good at his job?
He was the boss.
would you say that he was good?
It's not a job that demands a lot of skill.
Will you answer the question?
He was all right. You don't need A-levels to do it.
Would you say that the deceased, during this period, was vulnerable to attack from anybody who wanted to take advantage of him?
He was no more vulnerable than anyone else.
And when the accused escorted him from this palm tree, I mean, wouldn't you think that was a perfectly natural thing to do in the circumstances?
Could be.
And when the accused was watching him like a hawk, it could be said that he was merely doing his job, could it not?
Yes, it could be said. But I think there was a lot more to it than that.
Mr. Webster, this court is not interested in your opinions. The court has heard far too much of your opinions. Would you kindly answer the question? Now, is it not possible that the accused felt John Palmer might have been in some danger, not only from others, but also danger to himself?
Look, he wasn't vulnerable. I've seen a lot of lads in that state. They don't usually come to any harm.
Now, Mr. Webster, you've admitted to following the accused outside the fire exit, and indeed you say you heard the accused mention his brother. Is that correct?
Yeah, he was on about there, Kevin, while he was hitting Palmer.
Mr. Webster, the accused neither mentioned his brother nor did he punch Palmer in the face. Now, do you still maintain you heard him talking about Kevin?
Yes.
I mean, is there no possibility that you might have been mistaken with what you heard then with something you might have heard earlier on?
I was stood there, stone cold sober. I heard him say it.
Now, Mr. Webster, you are currently the head doorman at Rafters. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm in charge, temporarily.
And do you expect to retain this position if the accused is acquitted?
No, I don't. I suppose that she'll reinstate Frank. I'll go back to the old job.
Thank you, Mr. Webster. No more questions, my lord.
You may leave the witness box, Mr. Webster.
You are Dr. Gardner, who carried out the investigations on the body of John Palmer.
That is correct.
Dr. Gardner, can you state your qualifications to the court?
Certainly. I am James Michael Gardner, MSc, FRCP, FRC Path. Of my many current posts, I'm Professor of Forensic Pathology at St. Paul's University Hospital. I'm employed by the Home Office as a forensic pathologist. I've been engaged in this post for 8 years.
Thank you, Doctor. Could you tell your findings to the court?
I did not see the body of the deceased at the scene of the crime. The body had been removed. And early on Saturday morning, 28th of November, I attended the morgue with Constable Howard, who identified the body to me as that of John Palmer of 70A Thorncroft Terrace, Fulchester. The body was male, Caucasian, weight 165 pounds, age early 20s. The deceased's frame was well built and muscular. I noticed immediately petechiae around the face and mouth of the deceased. Now, these...
Petechiae, Dr. Gardner, can you tell us what this condition is?
Oh, yeah. Small purple spots like pimples rise to the surface of the skin. Small blood capillaries which burst under pressure.
Thank you. Please continue.
These petechiae were very clear and were spread around Palmer's face, which was purple. The rest of his body appeared in fine, though pallid form. The face had a small cut above the right eye, which had been stitched. This was clearly an old wound, such as the deceased might have incurred through boxing. The wound was almost healed. Palmer's face was also bruised around the right-hand side of the cheek and mouth.
Did this bruising appear recent?
Oh, yes. Yes, very recent. The deceased had no other major marks to the face or neck. Investigation of the neck area revealed that the cartilage and muscles were all intact with no bruising or injury. Now, I have here a report of the forensic scientist which reveals the alcohol levels in Palmer's body.
Please read it out, Doctor.
The report explains. It appears as if John Palmer, on the night of the 27th of November, etc., Palmer had 240 units of alcohol in his blood and 280 units in his urine. Now, that is a lot of alcohol for his body weight. This is consistent with 10 pints of beer or 5 fluid ounces of spirits imbibed over a period of 5 hours. Now, the report also states Palmer had little or no food for several hours. Now, this being the case, the effects of the alcohol would be much more acute. It would be much easier for it to get into the bloodstream. All other investigations revealed Palmer to be the healthy athlete he no doubt was. My findings reveal that the cause of death was asphyxia due to the inhalation of vomit. Now, excessive alcohol in the body inhibits the epiglottis, thereby allowing small particles of gastric juices, vomit, to get into the back of the throat. Here, the autopsy revealed very small quantities of gastric juices at the back of the throat, in the trachea, the bronchial passages, inhibiting the vagus nerve. Now, the vagus nerve travels from the head to the heart and the stomach. Any interference with the functioning of this nerve results in instant death. And this appears to have happened in Palmer's case. Although death was not instant, he would have been dead by the time he hit the pavement.
Gardner, you say that your findings revealed that Palmer had no marks on his neck.
The deceased had no marks, grazes, or bruising on or around the neck area.
And yet the evidence that Palmer was grasped around the neck has not been denied by the defense.
In my experience, deaths of this nature often reveal no solid medical clues. Usually there are no signs of any damage to the neck structure. Now, however, I must point out that this does not rule out the possibility that some pressure could have been applied to the neck of the deceased.
Does this apparent lack of evidence of marking suggest that the pressure applied to the neck of the deceased was insubstantial?
Not at all. It points to the fact that the accused was probably wearing soft garments, I presume a black suit. In any case, the use of the forearm in this instance, it leaves no marks. The neck is held in the joint of the arm. Now, this is very soft and would not cause any marking, whereas a grasp by the hand or the fingers would have left marks upon the neck of the deceased.
I see. You say that the deceased died of asphyxia?
Yes, asphyxia due to the inhalation of his own vomit.
Could the pressure on the neck induce this?
It could.
Are you saying that the pressure could have caused Palmer to vomit?
Well, it's not impossible. If there was a scuffle, then the effect of the scuffle could have produced the vomiting. The pressure around the neck would exacerbate the situation.
Dr. Garner, you said the deceased had a bruised face. Could this have been caused by a blow to the face?
Yes. Clearly there had been a blow to the face causing bruising of the right cheek.
And could this in any way have helped the vomiting?
Not directly, though clearly it would have hurt Palmer, made him feel unwell.
Are there any other reasons why a person should vomit?
Oh, yes. I can think of a number of reasons.
What are they?
Fear, for one.
Fear? In what way?
A person may be frightened and induced into a state of vomiting. Yeah, for example, if a person is attacked and frightened, then vomiting could occur.
Dr. Gardner, thank you very much.
Now, Dr. Garner, you said that the deceased had marks on his face.
He had a small cut over the right eye, which had been stitched and a bruised cheek.
Yes, and was this bruise recent?
Oh, yes. Yes, it was clearly a recent bruise.
Now, Dr. Garner, could this bruising have been caused by the deceased when he fell on the pavement? Could he have bruised his face at that stage?
Yes, that is possible.
And we've ascertained that the deceased had been drinking. Now, would this have had an adverse effect upon him?
Oh, yes, of course.
And would this have had a greater effect because the deceased was unaccustomed to alcohol?
Clearly, we build up a resistance to alcohol. If the deceased had no tolerance, then the effect it had would be altogether greater.
Yes, and we've also established that Palmer had little or nothing to eat.
That is correct.
Now, Dr. Garner, could the alcohol have induced Palmer to be sick?
Excessive alcohol can result in vomiting, yes.
And could Palmer have vomited without any pressure to the neck being necessary?
That is a possibility.
So, with the excessive amount of alcohol Palmer had drunk, he may well have vomited of his own volition. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying it would have been possible.
And could the lack of marks around his neck suggest that the accused was holding him not very tightly? Could it suggest that he was attempting to restrain the man rather than to cause him any real harm?
No, not really. As I've said, the use of the forearm when clad in soft garments leaves little mark. In particular, the arms of the accused would be more muscle than bone. This would soften the friction.
Now, you said that alcohol had the effect of minimizing the function of the epiglottis, thus presumably preventing the throat from being cleared efficiently.
Yes, that is so.
And would you dispute that if John Palmer had consumed this excess of alcohol before he met the accused, in fact, even before he went into that discotheque, he could have easily died from asphyxiation?
That is quite a speculation, but I must admit it is not impossible.
Take the testament in your right hand. Read aloud the words on the card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Now, Mr. Rowe, please give the court your full name and address.
Frank Rowe, Flat 10, Boycott Way, Fulchester.
And you were employed as the head bouncer at Rafters Discotheque, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Now, on the night of the 27th of November, you were on duty at the club, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Now, when did you first see John Palmer that evening?
When he stood outside the main entrance.
Did you recognize Palmer?
Not at first. Did a sort of double take. You could say that I recognized him. I'd seen him before in the ring, though.
You'd seen him box?
Yes, I'd seen most of his fights. Travelled all over the place to see him. Crewe, Newcastle.
So you were pleased to meet him?
Of course I was.
And did Palmer appear drunk when you saw him?
He looked a bit worse for wear. That's why I had to have a closer look. When I got near, I could see he was drunk.
And how did you feel about this?
Couldn't believe it. It's like a nightmare. I was still excited by the fact he was there. But it was like a dream that had turned sour. Fit young lad, good enough to be a great athlete. He was reduced to a slob. A drunken slob with two other slobs.
So you were upset by Palmer's state?
Oh, it's disgusting. Prime athlete training all day, then at night getting in bad company. Well, I thought he'd let himself down.
Well, why on earth did you allow Palmer to enter if it was quite clear that he was drunk? And I thought the discotheque had a policy of not allowing drunks inside.
It just happened. I never thought about stopping him. Forgot where I was. I just had one thought in my head, and that was that I wanted to talk to him. When I got close, I could see I had to let him in. He couldn't get home, not in that state. Somebody would have taken advantage of him. I let him in for his own good. To talk to him. That's what I thought, anyway.
And did you get upset when you were talking to Palmer?
Yes, very upset. He was in no state to listen. I thought that, he'd want to talk about boxing. I told him that I thought he'd handled our Kev very well. I admired it. I thought he'd listen, but he just stood there like a slob, sort of nodding and smiling like he knew it all.
And did you feel any antagonism towards him?
I felt a bit sorry for him and worried. Things happen when you're drunk. I've seen a lot of drunks, and he was at the dangerous state. That is not totally harmless.
Mr. Rowe, what did you mean when you said to Palmer, your time will come?
Well, I was talking about him and our Kev. Our Kev's a good boxer. But Palmer was going to be a big name. There was no doubt in my mind about that. Well, when I saw he was drunk, I told him that I thought he was throwing away the chance of a lifetime. I said that if he kept training and working hard, then one day he could be the British champion. I said to him, listen, your time will come. Just wait for it. Don't rush it. Well, that's what I meant by that.
And did you hit Palmer in the foyer?
I sort of clipped him on the head, yes. I wanted to make him listen, make him pull himself together. It was no good, so I let him inside the disco.
And why did you have to twice evict him from the dance floor?
Because he was making a nuisance of himself. I did it for his own good.
Oh, what do you mean by that, for his own good?
Well, he was in a dangerous position. Local celebrity falling about drunk, he was a spot ball for anybody. The target for aggression. No matter what night it is, there's always a little scuffle. And you can bet your bottom dollar if it had gone much further, somebody would have had a crack at him. And I speak from some experience.
Are you saying, from your experience, that Palmer could have been hit or attacked by someone in the discotheque?
That could have happened. It's in the back of my mind all the time. That's why I kept an eye on him.
Because you thought he was in danger?
He was. I just wanted to help him. Save his public face. But he was beyond helping.
When you took Palmer outside, what happened?
I took him outside. Told him to take it easy, just to relax. I had hold of him, very gentle-like, so as not to provoke him. I kept saying to him, just take it easy, nice and easy. Just take it steady, John.
And did Palmer resist your help?
Not at first. Then he changed.
In what way?
They shook me off. Told me to leave him alone. Started shouting and swearing, telling me to leave him alone, that he wanted to go back inside. I tried to say to him, look, it's best if we stop out here. But I tried to explain it was stupid doing what he was doing, letting people laugh at him, seeing him pathetic and drunk like he was, but he just kept on shouting and swearing.
And did you try and calm him down?
Well, I tried to calm him, but he was wild, raving. He said, "Who are you calling stupid?" He said, "I was stupid." He was provoking a fight. He started dancing and bobbing, yelling at me. "Come on," then he kept saying. Then he started throwing punches. Then he came for me, so I grabbed him.
Around which part of the body did you grab him?
Around the neck. I just wanted to calm him down.
And how
I grabbed him and he kept on struggling like mad. I mean, I thought if I held on, he'd calm down.
And how did you hold him?
I had to hold him fairly tight, but I didn't squeeze his neck with all my force.
And did you say anything to Palmer once you had hold of him?
No, I said nothing.
And did you ever hit Palmer?
No, never. I never hit him.
Did you ever intend to hurt Palmer any more than was necessary to restrain him?
No, I only wanted to calm him down.
Do you think you could have attempted to calm him down in any other way other than restraining him?
No, I don't think I could have.
Why not?
Well, even though he was out of control, he was dangerous. Really wild, almost frothing at the mouth. I was telling him to be steady. He was still struggling like mad. Then he went all soft. I thought perhaps he'd finished his tantrum, come to his senses like. When I let go of him, I stood away. I didn't know if he was acting, playing like he wanted me to let go of him so he could come at me again. I stood there and he crashed to the pavement. He didn't move. I couldn't believe it. It was like a nightmare. The whole thing from start to finish was just like a dream. It didn't seem real.
The case of the Queen against Roe will be concluded tomorrow in the Crown Court. General public. Frank Roe is accused of the manslaughter of boxer John Palmer.
Mr. Rowe, do you expect the jury to believe that you allowed John Palmer to enter the discotheque for his own good, as you put it?
That's what I thought at the time, yes.
You let him inside for his own good and to help him, and as soon as he entered the foyer, you took him to one side. Why did you do this?
Well, I wanted to talk to him. I didn't realize how bad he was until I did talk to him.
Why did you clip Palmer on the head?
I wanted to him to pull himself together. It was an instant reaction. I wanted to try and sober him up so I could talk to him.
But it hardly seems the sort of reaction that is likely to sober someone up, rather the opposite. Would you say that you reacted in an aggressive manner towards Palmer?
I just wanted him to see what he was doing to himself.
And you didn't want him to come to any harm?
No, I didn't. I could see he was in a state. I could see he was vulnerable. I'd seen that sort of thing before.
What exactly do you mean by that?
People who let themselves go like that are disgusting. They make fools of themselves, humiliate themselves.
Did you ever feel when you first saw him that Palmer had humiliated himself in any way? That by allowing himself to get drunk, he was humiliating himself?
Oh, yes, of course he was. That's the whole point.
Don't you think that it would have been more in Palmer's interest if you had prevented him from entering the discotheque?
I sent him into the street, the state he was in.
Mr. Rowe, if you had the respect for him that you say that you had, why didn't you take him home?
I couldn't have.
But you saw that he was in no condition to talk, that he was humiliating himself. Why didn't you do something about it?
Well, I never thought.
Didn't you ever consider putting John Palmer into a taxi? If you wanted to help him, surely paying for a taxi isn't going to be too much trouble, is it?
It never crossed my mind.
Would have been possible, surely, also to have taken him to an office area where you could have explained to him whatever you wanted in a more conducive atmosphere.
I thought I was doing the best thing in the circumstances.
Did it ever cross your mind that Palmer would humiliate himself in front of other people?
I didn't think about it. I was shocked to see him as he was.
Mr. Rowe, you wanted to help John Palmer. You said, didn't you, that you wanted to save his public face?
I did, yes.
In that case, why did you let Palmer humiliate himself to such an extent?
I don't understand what you're saying.
John Palmer sat in the middle of the dance floor not once, but twice. Quite apart from that, he took off his shirt, began to climb a tree, and make an exhibition of himself. And you, Mr. Rowe, stood and watched him. It was not until he climbed the tree that you found it necessary to save his public face. Don't you think it would have been better to take Mr. Palmer outside the discotheque when you first saw him on the dance floor and unable to stand? That, Mr. Rowe, would have been the kind of action that would have prevented Palmer making an exhibition of himself. That would have prevented the humiliation which you were so concerned to prevent. And you can't deny that, can you?
No, Well, it all happened so quickly, everything.
Mr. Rowe, I put it to you that you allowed John Palmer to continue his drunken antics inside that discotheque so that he would humiliate himself.
No, I didn't.
What other reason could you possibly have for allowing someone that you admire and respect for making an exhibition of himself in this way?
I don't know. I just stood there. I was watching him to make sure he was okay.
Did you enjoy watching Palmer make an exhibition of himself?
No, I didn't.
Then why did you stand and watch him nearly all night?
I don't know. I just didn't seem able to take my eyes off him.
Mr. Rowe, when you took Palmer outside, why did you insist on taking him out alone?
I didn't want to let Webster near him. I wanted to look after him myself.
You say that Palmer was in no mood to listen when you got outside, is that correct?
Well, he wouldn't listen to anything I said. I just wanted to bring him round. I didn't want to talk about boxing. It was beyond that. I'm not that stupid. I just wanted to deal with him the best way I knew and to calm him down.
You were an amateur boxer for many years.
Yes, that's correct.
And you've been interested in boxing all your life.
Well, I keep a keen interest in boxing. I like to keep fit and alert.
Mr. Rowe, why didn't you use your skills as a boxer to disarm Palmer if he attacked you?
That was impossible.
Why?
I wasn't in his class.
Surely a man of your stature would have been able to weather a storm of attack from a man nearly half your size.
Well, I did the first thing that came to me.
To grab Palmer by the neck?
It seemed a natural thing to do in the circumstances.
What were the circumstances, Mr. Rowe?
He was wild. I just wanted to protect myself and calm him down.
Did you think of grasping a person's neck? That is a good way to calm somebody down?
I was dealing with a potentially dangerous young bloke who was wild.
A dangerous young bloke who had his drink spiked and who is, in your own words, obscene with alcohol?
That's how it happened.
Mr. Rowe, do you seriously expect the jury to believe that Palmer, who could not get to his feet on the dance floor, suddenly turned into a vicious attacker?
That's what happened.
Do you expect the jury to believe that you didn't use your boxing skills?
I never hit him, never.
Wasn't there any other way that you could have warded Palmer off?
No, not the way he was coming for me. He was going balmy, punching everywhere. I mean, I know what I'm talking about. He was dangerous.
Didn't you say that Palmer was too drunk to conduct a reasonable conversation with you inside rafters?
He was drunk. I could smell the beer.
Well, are you saying that he was incapable of conversation, but that he was quite capable of attacking you sometime later?
Yes, alcohol affects people that way. It makes them violent.
Mr. Rowe, had you been drinking at all that night?
I don't drink when I'm working. I don't drink excessively in any case.
Then why didn't you leave Palmer on his own once you'd taken him outside?
I wanted to make sure he was okay.
Mr. Rowe, I suggest that you didn't leave Palmer outside on his own because you deliberately wanted to frighten him. Hadn't you, in fact, been antagonistic towards him all evening?
No, I wasn't.
Are you claiming that you were behaving perfectly rationally?
Yes.
You'd wanted to talk to Palmer about his fight with your brother Kevin. Was the fight an important one?
It was a final eliminator for a crack at the Northern Area title. Then the winner stood a chance for a crack at the British.
And has Palmer's death changed Kevin's chances of reaching the Northern Area title?
It means that the final eliminator has to be fought all over again.
So it gives your brother another bite at the cherry.
Yes, it does.
Were you ever aware of this?
Yes, obviously I was aware of it. Look, I'm glad Kev's got another chance. But Palmer was a potential champion in my mind.
How did you react to your brother's, Kevin's, defeat by John Palmer?
Same as anyone would.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I was upset, disappointed.
Did you ever think about your brother's defeat after the fight?
Yes, of course I did.
Did you have the thought of your brother's defeat on your mind when you spoke to John Palmer?
I wanted to talk to him about the fight.
Did you have the thought of your brother's defeat in mind that evening?
No, not really. I don't think I did.
But it is possible that when you saw Palmer, the thought of your brother's defeat came to mind.
I don't know.
But it is possible, isn't it, that you may have had the fight in mind?
Yes, of course, it's possible. It's possible. Anything's possible if you say it loud enough over and over again. Look, I was mad when our Kevin lost. Of course I was mad. I was furious. I wanted to kill Palmer. I wanted to get in the ring and kill him. I wanted to hurt him. I knew I could hurt him. But the feeling subsided. It was a natural reaction, an instant reaction.
Was it a natural reaction to want to kill him?
I didn't actually mean it like that.
What did you mean, Mr. Rowe?
It was just natural.
What else can wanting to kill a man mean? Didn't you take John Palmer outside and hit him repeatedly?
No.
Mr. Freeman, Mr. Webster, both saw you do this. Are they lying?
Yes, they must be.
Dr. Gardner's evidence suggests that Palmer had received blows to the face. Is he lying as well?
I don't know. Look, I never hit Palmer, never.
Did you let him into the discotheque because you knew he would then be in your power?
I only wanted to protect him, not kill him.
And I have no more questions.
Now, Mr. Rowe, you said that you were understandably mad when your brother was beaten by John Palmer. Is that correct?
It was a natural reaction, a family reaction.
Yes, and you also said that you wanted to kill Palmer. You explained to the court that you wanted to get into the ring and kill him.
I didn't actually mean kill him.
Now, what did you mean, Mr. Rowe?
Well, I said it in the heat of the moment, like you do. It was an expression, a turn of phrase. I mean, I wanted to kill him on the night of the fight with our Kev, but the feeling had gone almost as soon as it came. When I saw Palmer in rafters, I didn't want to kill him, no way.
And did you have any desire to hurt Palmer at all?
No desire whatsoever. I only wanted to restrain him, to steady him down. I never hit or punched John Palmer. I respected him too much to do that sort of thing.
Thank you. No more questions?
I call Mrs. Maureen Berry.
You ought to take up jogging, lose some weight. I'm sure you'd feel much fitter. You'd certainly look a lot better if you got rid of this.
Now, Mrs. Berry, you are the manager of Rafters Discotheque, 46 Crofts Lane, Fulchester. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. I am the manager. I also own Rafters. It's the best late-night entertainment in Fulchester. In fact, I own 1 or 2 discotheques, or nightclubs, call them what you will. They're very popular nowadays. There's little else for the young, is there? I own Cuddles in Leeds and Mr. Midnight's in Newcastle. They're all the same, really plush. They're the sort of place you can relax, do what you like, let your hair down. I believe in people enjoying themselves.
And would you describe Rafters as the sort of place that attracts trouble?
Oh, look, let's face it, trouble can happen anywhere nowadays. You don't need an excuse. In a pub, in the street, at a disco. No, I wouldn't say that my clubs attract a lot of trouble. Not compared to some.
But you do employ bouncers to prevent trouble, is that correct?
Well, they are there to deal with anything that arises, yes. Yes, I suppose you could say they were there to prevent trouble. Obviously, I couldn't cope with it all myself.
No. Now, do you have a policy in your discotheque of disbarring people who appear drunk to enter?
Well, it's not written down. But it's common knowledge, isn't it, that drunks can be a nuisance. I mean, spoil the party for everybody else, so to speak.
So you have no policy as such?
Well, it's really up to the boys who are running the place. I mean, they are dealing with it. They have the first and last say. I'd like to say this. It's the first time that anything like this has ever happened in one of my clubs. There is very little trouble as a rule, very little. My boys do a good job. And Frank has worked in all my clubs, and I've never heard of anything like this before.
Mrs. Berry, how long has the accused worked for you as a bouncer?
About 5 years. He worked in the first place we had in Leeds.
So you've known him for some time?
I've known Frank for years. I first met him when he was an amateur boxer. Oh, what is it? About 10 years ago. I met him through my first husband.
And would you say Frank Rowe was well-liked with your other employees?
Well, I've got to be realistic, haven't I? He's probably liked by some and not by others. I mean, it's a funny old world.
What do you mean by that?
Well, we're all thrown together to get along with one another with people we possibly don't like. Well, Frank and the boys mix fine, but I don't think that Frank and Ian get on all that well.
Now, the accused has been suspended by you from work since the 27th of November.
Yes. We both agreed it was the best thing to do.
Now, if the accused is found guilty, will you have to find someone to replace him?
I'll have to employ another person, but someone like Frank will be difficult to find. Very difficult. Frank was good. Very good.
And how far does this role of head doorman differ from that of an ordinary bouncer?
Quite simply, the head doorman is in charge of the running of the club in my absence. He is answerable only to me. Usually we liaise quite closely.
Yes, and Mrs. Berry, let us suppose that you are unable to reinstate the accused. Have you any idea who would be doing his job?
Well, at the moment, Ian is doing the job, but only as a fill-in. But that's not the way that I want it.
Ah, can you explain what you mean by that?
Well, Ian's a bit green, you know, still a bit boyish. I'm not entirely happy with him being in charge, but I had to find a stand-in for Frank straight away. Frank's my man any day of the week.
And what makes you say that?
Well, Frank's the sort of person I need around. He's been in the game a long time. He has the experience needed. A lot of my younger boys need controlling.
In what way?
Well, sometimes they can get a little bit carried away. Frank, on the other hand, has always been reliable.
Yes. Would you explain what you mean by this?
Look, obviously there has been some aggro in rafters from time to time. I'd be a fool to pretend otherwise, wouldn't I? But I've never known Frank do anything like this before. He has always remained calm in heated situations.
Have you ever known him be aggressive?
Not to my knowledge. He has always behaved impeccably. When he was a boxer, he was known for his gentleness. That's why he didn't make it. He didn't have the killer instinct.
Yes. Now, Mrs. Ray, you've been involved to some extent in amateur and professional boxing, correct?
I grew up with boxing. A father, 2 brothers. I married a boxer. It's become my main interest. It's a very attractive art. Brutal, but attractive. I've seen a lot of fighters. I have to. In the past 2 years, I've become actively involved in promotion.
Have you seen many young fighters?
I've seen 1 or 2.
And have you seen many boxers fighting in the same sort of category as John Palmer?
I've seen every weight fight. Middleweights are interesting. They are usually aggressive, muscular, tough. Though I prefer the light heavy and heavyweights. Middleweights tend to be a bit young.
And have you ever seen John Palmer fight?
Yes.
And how did he rank amongst the middleweights that you've already seen?
He was good. Not the best by any means. Frank thought he was the best. Better than our Kevin, but he was impressive.
Was there anything particularly impressive about him?
He had an eagerness to fight. When he climbed into the ring, he was like an animal, moved like a panther. From what I'd seen of him, he was a typical middleweight, an aggressive young fella.
And have you ever had the chance to meet Palmer outside of the ring?
I met him socially once at a local dinner, I think that it was.
And do you notice anything striking about him when you met him then?
Well, I'd only met him once. Impressions aren't always reliable, but he looked fit and solid. He had a hungry look.
Now, can you explain what you mean by that?
He had the same sort of look outside the ring as he had inside the ring. You know, in the eyes. He looked hard and mean. He reminded me of someone who was very dangerous.
Thank you, Mrs. Berry. No more questions?
Mrs. Very, you have told the court that the accused is reliable, calm, and always behaves impeccably.
In my experience, Frank has always behaved in that fashion.
Would you say that he was behaving impeccably when he allowed John Palmer into rafters?
I'm sure that he was, yes.
Even though Palmer was very drunk, and in your own words you've said yourself, drunks can spoil the party.
I can only say that I'm sure Frank was acting in a way that he felt was for the best.
Mrs. Very, you say that you have known the accused for 10 years. Did you ever meet him socially?
Frank and I share an interest, boxing. I don't drive, you see, so Frank chauffeurs me to the fights. He has done for the past 18 months. That is the only time we meet socially. Obviously, we meet on occasions to discuss the club.
I see. Mrs. Very, you promote fighters, is that correct?
Yes, I do. More of late, actually.
And is it true you financed the accused's brother, Kevin Rowe?
Yes, I have done on a number of occasions.
Did you support Kevin Rowe when he fought in the final eliminator against John Palmer?
Yes, I did. It was a scheduled 8-round fight.
Rowe was beaten on that fight, wasn't he?
Easily beaten, as a matter of fact. Kevin was out of his class, but he fought well. To be honest, it was a massacre. It was humiliating.
How did you feel after that fight?
Sick. I didn't realize at that time how aggressive a fighter Palmer was.
And did the accused chauffeur you on that occasion?
Yes, he did. And, of course, Frank had a personal interest. He wanted to see how his brother fared against Palmer. He was always talking about Palmer. He followed his career avidly.
Did you ever talk to the accused about the fight?
We never stopped talking about it all the way home. Frank knew, I think, that I was upset. It's not the money I worry about. It upsets me to see my boys lose, especially if they're slaughtered.
Did the accused ever seem upset at having seen his brother get beaten so easily?
Well, yes, obviously he was. Frank knew, I think, that it was the end of the line for Kev as far as title fighting was concerned. Frank said he'd like to start boxing again. I told him he was a nice bloke, but too old to start all that again. We had a good laugh about it.
Mrs. Very, were you ever aware that the accused was so upset by his brother's defeat that he felt like killing John Palmer?
Who, Frank? Oh, give over. Frank wouldn't hurt a fly.
Did the accused ever say to you that he felt like killing John Palmer?
Well, he mentioned it, yes.
So you were aware of the fact, were you not, that he had a desire to kill John Palmer?
Of course he didn't want to kill him. He was upset. It's understandable, isn't it?
Is it understandable that you want to kill someone?
He may have said it. People do say things like that, don't they? But he didn't want to kill anyone. I know Frank looks dangerous, but I know him. He's a big softy, really.
Thank you, Mrs. Varley. I've no more questions, my lord.
Members of the jury, will your foreman please stand? Please answer this question, yes or no. Have you reached a verdict on which you are all agreed?
Yes.
Do you find the defendant, Frank Rowe, guilty or not guilty of the manslaughter of John Palmer?
Not guilty.
May my client be released, my lord?
Yes, Frank Rowe, you are free to go.
All stand. All persons having anything to do before Her Majesty's Crown Court may now depart and give their attendance at 10:30 tomorrow morning. God save the Queen and my lords, the Queen's Justice.